Hello everyone, this is Nikki Yu and you are here watching the Awesome 10X Philippine Market Update. It is October 20, 2021. Let's begin. Okay, so the Philippine market is currently trading at 7,300 points. That is near the highest, and you've got a market value of 8.5 billion pesos. That looks good. So let's take a look on the week by week. You've got actually very strong movers today, and let's just go through it. So the strongest mover for the day has been Bloomberry, Converge, Metrobank, Aboitiz Power. But let's read through the numbers, like the actual prices. SM is trading at 1,025. Ayala Corp is trading at 865. Converge trades at about 32.85. SM Prime 36.2. Ayala Land 38.15. Metrobank nearing 50 bucks. Bloomberry nearing 7 pesos. PLDT 16.35. Aboitiz Power nearing 32 bucks. MPI well above 4. It's now trading at 406. Wilcon 29. Jollibee 230. Pure Gold 42. URC 140. Luciatan Group at 10 bucks. BPI at 86. Robinson's Retail at 60 bucks. Robinson's Land 17.7. San Miguel Corporation 117. AGI below 11 10.86. JG Summit 66. Ascen below 12 11.88. Mega World 312 above 3. Aboitiz Equity Ventures nearing 50, hovering 50, 49 to 50. Meralco 293, slowly but surely crawling the 300 mark. GD Cap slowly but surely going above the 600, now trading at 560. BDO trading at 130, above 130. Globe 3,050, still above 3K. Security Bank 121, ICT 175. Overall, you're seeing that the index names are actually hovering near their highs for the year, just as your PSCI is. And take a look at the most traded stats. Let's take a look at the top traded. Top traded names: Ascen 12, Converge 33. Your Monde Nissan is being picked up at 15.5 with 800 million value traded. Of course, a slew of profit taking on your coal names. DMC below 9 nowadays, now trading at 877. Semirara trading at 27.4. Some oil and related energy names are still hovering near the highs. You could see that Petron is actually trading at 4 bucks. Petron is trading at 402. And you can also see some energy names or renewable plays trying to hover. It went as high as 79 cents, only to fall to 69 cents. But that was a strong move for BSC. You are seeing as well in the top traded formats, the telecoms are still strong, still there. It is Converge, PLDT, Globe. And then in general, your banks have been strong. Your BDO is still 130. Even your properties followed suit. So overall, the Philippine market is quite strong. Let's take a look at the top gainers with traded volume. Okay, so FA seems to go up 9%, trading at 94 cents. Strong move for Bloomberry, yes, nearing 7 bucks. You are seeing the strength of Converge. So in general, let's just take a look mostly at the charts that people have been most actively being traded. On the top 30 names, Monde, Converge, Ascen, the rest are index names. Apart from that, we can argue that there's actually a slew of winners in the commodity space. Let's show to you analytics. So take a look at the week-on-week performance of all shares. Percentage change, let's take a look on the highest monthly percent. So the highest monthly percentage change, all right. So you've got Manila Water trading 50% higher, Semirara trading 40% higher. You've got Petron rising 36% for the month. You've got Macro Asia trading 30% for the month, BSC, ABS-CBN, DMCI. So you've got a lot of coal and oil related names. Shell Philippines going up 20%. And then some restaurants are following up with which is Jollibee 16% up, followed by Maxis. So I'll give you my understanding about these stocks and my view on them. So in general, you've seen oil trade up. So let's take a look at the commodity space. So how is all the commodities rising? This would be best explained month on month. So oil is up 10%, $82. And you could see that silver is up 8%, copper is up 13%, Platinum up 8% for the month. Palladium up 10% for the month. You've got sugar going down 6%. That is at least a help for some commodity manufacturers. You've got some aluminum rising 9%, nickel 11%. These are for the month. So in general, you've got a lot of commodities rising, save for the fact that natural gas going down 13%, sugar 6%, cocoa 3%. That's actually helpful for URC, that sugar and cocoa is going down, given that it is, of course, a commodity need for any manufacturer, such as the one making a lot of Cloud9 chocolates and Nips example. So let's take a look at the biggest strength here. I'd say that the strongest charts still remain copper, 13% up, and nickel Asia, nickel, and then of course your oil. So in the Philippines, if you see you're seeing Atlas trading near their all-time highs. 52-week high is 885. 52-week low is $4. It's now trading at 635. We argue that it's possibly in a reversal play. So notice here, Atlas Mining has gone down from $26 all the way to as low as $2 or about 90% down, and then has slowly crawled its way out from 2 to about 8 pesos. This, in my view, is a consolidation that is actually a healthy pullback to re-enter at 6 pesos and 635. Kwarta ni Mommy, nandun. Okay, okay lang. So let's just try to see how high Atlas could go, given that copper is strong. So let me show to you first the price of copper. So actually in you can see maybe Global Copper Miners ETF. So let's take a look here. COPX. So COPX is actually strong. You'll see it follows very much like the copper prices as well. From a low of $10, it rose about 46, had a nice consolidation, and then broke out to about $40 from the 34 base. That is about 20% above. So here at Atlas, we see a potential rally of at least 20% from the base, 6 pesos, all the way to about 720 and 750, and eventually as high as 9 if copper continues to rise. So this shows to me a potential buy on this breakout here at about 635 and 6 pesos. So you can actually buy this breakout and then pull back, enter that entry point for Atlas Consolidated Mining. So this is in conjunction with copper. Let me show to you how copper prices are as a chart. So you can go here, copper charts. So this is the chart of copper. You can see from March, $2 all the way to as much as $5. Had a consolidation at 4 and rallied back to 4.7. And we are seeing actually a potential rally all the way to about $5 to $6. So still bullish on copper. Therefore, you want to actually try to see an entry on Atlas. Same thing. Let's take a look on oil names. Oil in general has been in an uptrend. So let's show to you the charts of oil. So in the commodity space, it still is the largest headline that's actually stoking inflationary concerns. Now, the world is in an energy crisis, and it seems as if high prices will remain in play for the next 3 to 6 months. So while it is strong, you might as well make money with the gas pump rising. Okay, so let's go to Petron. PCOR and Shell Philippines are, of course, your basic oil and gas beneficiaries. Let's take a look on that name. Let's just view the charts. I do believe that year on year, it's still not a super strong. This isn't finished. You are actually at the bottom of the base. So we've been buying. We've been giving buy calls here at about 320 and even at 313, and even as high as 340, 350. I would say even here at the 4, you could see that $4 is your previous resistance near at 420. But with oil hovering near the 5-year highs, let's just take a look at the 5-year chart of even the 10-year chart of Petron. You could see that the median is even as high as 9 or even as high as 7, which means that 4 can easily go to 5, 6. There's really a vacuum here for Petron. So 2020 until 2021 could be a signal of a bottoming out pattern for your oil stock, particularly Petron, given that Philippines has no energy, no electric cars either. So in the short term, view this going higher. Any dips are still remaining to be bought. From a chart perspective, the first resistance is as high as 5 pesos. And then your higher low support will be somewhere at about 360 all the way to about 380. Today's low was 386 and still managed to close high. We're seeing the daily charts of Petron still going up. It could just actually consolidate into a flag and then go higher. Does Petron chart remind you of Shell? Yes, the same thing. Shell Pilipinas is also doing the same chart pattern. So Shell Philippines has tanked from 80 all the way to 16 or 80% down. You're noticing that from 2020 to 2021, we are seeing this 2-year breakout for Shell Philippines. How high can it go? The first resistance is as high as about maybe 28 to 32. So there is a potential rally based on the rising oil prices, which can actually help Filipina Shell from their inventories to be selling it on the world markets over the last, I don't know if they've stocked up a lot of inventory, but in general, the assumption is whatever inventories they have, they could sell it at higher prices given that oil is actually going up. So from about 22 to 20, you're seeing a higher low support here on Filipina Shell, and it's still also going up. Does it remind you of many energy stocks in the US? The answer is yes. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Copper in the US is big. The biggest would be Freeport-McMoRan. So for Atlas, this is the point of view this is my point of view. With Freeport-McMoRan rising from 30 to 38, it's likely to hit about 48. So you've got that huge bull market in copper, and this copper metal is not necessarily going to go away. There's just so strong demand for a lot of metals. And you can see as well, it's not just true for copper. Almost every commodity price has been rising. This is lithium mines. This is Albemarle, the largest lithium miner. This is because of that entire energy and all of that renewable energy necessitating batteries. So batteries will need components of lithium, and we've talked about this EV revolution. Positive for lithium miners. Albemarle has been rising from $50 to 250 or almost 5x, and it is nonstop. We see that trend still overflowing. Therefore, in the Philippines, the primary candidate would be NIKL. After sleeping here for a year, I'd argue that this 550 can break out as high as 650 and even go as high as about 750. So let's take a look even on the price charts of nickel. So the world prices of nickel is also rising. So let's take a look on the commodity. Go to commodities and go to nickel. You could see the same thing happening from 11,000 to 20,000. So that doubling of nickel prices is, of course, highly positive for your miners in the Philippines. Nickel is going to be a huge beneficiary of this. So let's take a look at nickel miners. This 11K all the way to 20K. So let's take a look on these miners. So our view is that you want to have exposure on the miners in the Philippine miners. So Nickel here about 150 all the way to about 6, with nickel prices hovering near the highs. We think the trend is still intact, and so any dips at 550 are all buys, with an assumption to go as high as 650 first, and then eventually go up to as high as 750 to 9. Let's take a look at on other nickel miners. So the same thing, my argument would be quite the same like Atlas. This is a healthy pullback. The uptrend is still intact. You could even put the Fibonacci retracement here, showing that this is still a healthy pullback of the trend. Any dips here at about 217 all the way to $2 seems to be an accumulation point, a reset point to re-enter, and then another rally all the way to about 3 pesos. So those are magnanimous moves. A 50% rise on FNI would actually also be presuming that nickel prices are staying strong and high. So that would be the biggest view moves. Okay, today I'd also argue the breakout happening and then the profit taking happening, of course, for DMC and Semirara. So DMC and Semirara are getting profit taken after a rising surge in coal prices. So the coal price effect has actually rendered DMC back to its resistance point of 9 pesos here. So I'd argue that this is getting profit taken, but the supports would still be hovering here at about 750 or about 8 pesos. So there would still be that trend as long as coal prices remain high. My argument though is that DMC is in the advanced stage, whereas Petron is still in the lower end stage. So you've got more upside parking into Petron still, even if Petron is already at 4, rather than buying, say, a DMCI. Now, Semirara, let's take a look at that. Also rallied all the way to about $30 because of coal prices. So Semirara has rallied from 18 all the way to 30. We are getting some profit taking already. And then after this profit taking, it could lead to as low as 24 or even, so there will still be profit taking in my view. Sellers abound for DMC and Semirara. And my view is that they could be shifting away from these coal mines. Even in the Chinese name, let me show to you Yanzhou Coal Miner. Yanzhou Coal actually had profit taken already. Show you the chart of other coal mines in the world. Yanzhou Coal, 1171. Wait, Yeah, so this has been profit taken already from 17 all the way to 14, or almost a 10 to 20% downside. So our view is that DMC and Semirara run has finished, and yet Petron, all of these petroleum stocks are still on the uptrend. Let me show to you more convincing reasons why Petron is still in the uptrend. Why oil, copper are still in the uptrend. This is EOG Resources, an oil and drilling name in the US. You could see even Occidental Petroleum. So all these oil-related names in general are in the uptrend. Yeah, so it's very clear to me that they're in a 5-year reversal chart, given that no matter how bullish we are with ASEN, renewable cannot actually address all the demand. So it's very huge that the market is paying two types of energy, dirty fuel and clean fuel. So for the dirty fuel, you've got Petron, you've got Shell Philippines, you've got coal names, of course, like Semirara, DMCI. Even Aboitiz Power is considered dirty fuel because majority of Aboitiz Power right now is still reliant on coal. So the Philippines, even China, is still reliant on dirty energy. The world is 80% still being fueled by dirty energy or coal. So here, Aboitiz Power, we argue, we've been buying here about 21, right? 21, 22. And I'd still argue buying at 30. Yeah, so in the recent dip, that was still a buying opportunity. And it's still an intact uptrend. So I'd say that there is a necessity for energy stocks. So these could rise as high as 37, 38, the next resistance for Aboitiz Power. The first resistance would be here at these levels of 2019 areas or this huge consolidation. The same time, Aboitiz Equity Ventures, of course, has been rallying with the increases of Aboitiz Power and Union Bank. So we are bullish on all the Aboitizes. So just showing to you that that chart is intact, 48 higher low. So from 40 to 48 higher low, the next move would be 56. Let's take a look on Union Bank. So Union Bank has been on a tear, rising from actually a low of 50 all the way to 100 because of that net income growth. And we're seeing actually a strength on Union Bank such that any dips 95, 90 all the way to 85 would still be bought by buyers, and the trend is still friends for Union Bank. Banks in general have been on a tear. We are still seeing strength on BDO, and it's actually the leader, still the leader so far. So you've seen that breakout from that 118 area. You have that temporary resistance here at 130 to 137. But the argument here is that a lot of buyers as well at 122 all the way to about 130, even if there are dips. So consolidation could be something like this, just like what banks did here, as a consolidation format here. It could consolidate here on BDO on a higher format, but still intact uptrend. So what you're seeing here is a slower reversal, but it is a slower uptrend still. So it could actually consolidate. This could happen here. People could actually be taking profits already here at 131, 135 areas. Of course, it can rally to 140, but that's uptrend channel resistance as well. So if you have BDO, you are probably more in the selling zone and then looking to buy back near 125 below. So let's take a look on AGI. So this was actually trying to break out. You'll notice that was a 1-year breakout that failed. It failed today. It tried to break 11, and then this dynamite moves makes it still a failure. Nonetheless, we are seeing AGI trying to advance above 11. That is already a 1-year chart. I suppose AGI is trying to break out from this 1-year consolidation on behalf of the movement of course, still the strongest, Emperador and Mega World. So still though, Emperador is already slowing down. Mega World tried to break out of $3 and it's trading at 315, but there's also some profit taking pressure there. So this is a slow recovery, I'd say. So property is going up, but actually a slower trend. So this is a weaker uptrend. Weak names, no. This is still weak. If you want to have strong moves, so yeah, we saw on the telecoms that is still true. Telecoms like Converge rebounded already from as low as 40 all the way to 28. That is a strong move up. Nonetheless, that huge drop could mean there's a lot of resistance as well here at 35. So these are bounces to sell into. Still a sell in about 36 after a super strong run. Okay, so ASEN has gone good news, right? So a lot of projects, but we argue this huge move down is just a dead cat bounce first, and then you'll have a consolidation happening here for ASEN, just like what happened in the past, like this consolidation. So this type of consolidation could take a few months. In this case, it was 5 months. We'll see if this takes about 5 months for ASEN. Okay, so NIKL Asia is currently in consolidation. How long has this been consolidating? A year already. So my argument is that this 1-year consolidation in NIKL Asia is prime for a breakout move, especially as nickel is rising worldwide. Take a look at these. So if nickel goes up, FNI might follow. Atlas also in a potential breakout zone. This is a 1-year consolidation. So you want to actually be buying near supports, low downside, and then perhaps an upside all the way to about 9 or 10. So that's your daily roundup for this week. Let's take a look if there's any questions in the comments. Hi, what will be the effect of share for share swap for ASEN? Will the price be diluted? I think yeah, we can read the news for that share swap that you're talking about. edge.psc.com.ph. So let's go through the press release of ASEN. October 19, that was yesterday. ASEN is raising ownership in UPC-AC Renewables Australia. The acquisition transforms UPC Australia joint venture into ASEN's first wholly owned development operating platform outside of the Philippines. This explains why it rose 1070 all the way to 12. Transaction is including a New England solar farm under construction, and then renewables pipeline across solar, wind, pump, hydro, and energy storage technologies in Australia. So they announced the acquisition of 50% stake in this joint venture through their subsidiary. I don't really think that the market has a consensus buy on ASEN. So this listed energy platform of the Ayala Group is still strong, and you could see the renewable share is the highest among the region in Southeast Asia, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Australia. Company has currently 2,600 megawatts of attributable capacity. I don't think there is a sign of reversal for ASEN. People would still buy ASEN on any dip. I don't think any dilution would really change the tape. The tape would still continue to buy ASEN. So I wouldn't be too worried. Nonetheless, if you find people selling at 12, it's normal because it has gone up so high. Can we still expect somewhere upside for GMA 7? Well, for Philippines, your media houses like GMA has to always think of new revenue sources. Um, I'm not quite sure to be honest how high GMA is. So far, it's just running on momentum. We would argue that on I mean, these days, elections aren't much a function of television advertising on spending. It's usually more on the spending on social media platforms like Facebook. So I'd argue that it's probably not a wise decision. I'm not sure if it will continue higher. Yes, there is still that uptrend. You've got that uptrend, but from 5 all the way to 16, I'm not sure how high it can still go up. Not I'm not confident, so my answer would be um, no comment if GME 7 will have upside. Um, REIT had a good run to the upside. Will it continue kaya? In general, REITs aren't expected to have super high upside. Ayala REITs kept on going up because they keep on expanding their portfolio. But I wouldn't actually think too much about REITs. REITs are stable. REITs are usually not seen as volatile instruments. So if you have it, you can hold, but I wouldn't argue that there's more upside because it's hard to find a catalyst unless they keep on adding more offices or more malls. Like it's very difficult. Usually, these things that Arit did, which is 24 to 45, that's actually already outperformance in the REIT space. I would actually even suppose sell it if you wish, like sell half. I'm not really a huge believer of properties in general. I think properties are weak recovery names. So it's not like my outperforming sector. Even for PhilREIT or AREIT or MREIT, yes, it will go up, but I'm not expecting like super outperformance from these. So when they outperform like an AREIT, I'm actually skeptical of the move. So for even for PhilREIT, if it rises about 18 bucks, sorry, 18 bucks is Mega World REIT, no. But PhilREIT, I think, is just in a trading range, it's just probably 10 to 20% range, even for Mega World REIT. So I'm not that confident that you can have like a super strong outperformance owning REITs per se. Is the reopening cyclical play on? Yeah, I'd argue there is that reopening cyclical play, but I would also be cautious on that. So for instance, you've seen GME rise to about 230. Yes, it could even rally to as high as 240. But my assumption is that with commodity prices rising, that would impact actually all these Jollibees. With oil prices rising, commodities are rising. There is a potential negative effect in terms of consumer spending because if people have to spend higher prices on the gas pump, they'd have less money to spend on groceries. So I'm not expecting like super outperformance on but I'm skeptical of this rally. So I'm more on, I'll be very honest. I think the Jollibee rally or even the likes of DNL or even URC, I'm skeptic on that because inflation would actually impact their bottom line, especially like restaurants. So what sector do you think is still undervalued and accumulate until end of the year? My answer would be mining sector. So whether it be Atlas, nickel, copper and nickel, oil. So I think undervalued in the Philippines is oil. One is twofold. You get the kicker that reopening means Vegas. Um, yeah, so my top undervalued pick so far would still be Petron, Nickel Asia, Atlas, these three. Oil, nickel, copper are still undervalued in my view. What are your thoughts on Wilcon? I'm not quite I'm not I'm neutral on a Wilcon because home constructions. So Wilcon is really a beneficiary of home furnishings, construction materials. When you're building something, then you'll have to buy and purchase it from Wilcon. Um, it's hard for me to predict how high Wilcon can continue further. But I guess it's already in a trading range right now. Um, yeah, I don't know if 29 could have a selling pressure at 33. So even like Converge, I think even if telecoms are in a general uptrend and broadband is a necessity, secular reasons, I'd argue that it's probably in a trading range. So it's not super strong, but I don't think that it will also weaken down. Of course, next few months it's going to be about the IPOs. So that could be an undervalued sector as well. Some of the IPOs are interesting. We covered Keepers Holdings. We also covered All Day IPO. So those two might be an interesting idea for the next 3 months. Yes, they are talking about consumer spending for the rest of the holiday season. You do buy a lot of liquor in the holiday season. You do buy a lot of supermarket goods, but it could be cyclical as well. So it's not secular in the sense that you're not always going to spend so much. But will there be a spike in sales for the holidays? I'd argue yes. So use the spikes, if ever, to trade in a selling range in a 20% format. And then if it goes higher, it's more of a bonus gravy. I think if the IPOs do well, uh, my expectation is that you probably can make 20%. But if you make more, then that's just a bonus. So if Keepers and All Day goes high like 40, 100% moves, that's more of a bonus, not the consensus. I don't think, in general, I have a hard time over. I don't really find overvaluation as a reason for people to sell. Like example, you can argue ASEAN is quite overvalued, but in a way, there's a few energy names in the Philippines. Admittedly, you only have Aboitiz Power, you've ASEAN, you've got FGen, perhaps. So due to the lack of options in the Philippines, sometimes it's those actually FGen, right? So natural gas, you might actually want to also take a part on this dip. But yeah, I don't think the Philippines is about valuation per se. It's also about the trends. So if the trend is still up, no one's gonna be, no one's gonna reverse it unless the reversal is critical. So I'll give you a catalyst of a potential reversal in the Philippines. One reason why you have to also be cautious is because the index is 7.3. If this land example, properties right now are trading at $38 for Ayala land. Mega World could trade about 3.3 or 3.2, 3 point, well, it's doing 320, 310 areas. While it rallies, I'd argue that these recovery moves of properties might actually be too hopeful. I'm not quite sure how fast real estate is really recovering because as of now, retail and rentals are not really doing well. The operations of retail is still more of a hope. So my argument is that SM rallying to 1025 is running on hope. SM Prime running on hope. Ayala Land, those movements aren't, I'm not sure if it will sustain, but I think it's a temporary spike rather than a sustainable recovery. So I'm not that bullish on retail retail stores, even if it's going up. So there, right now we are in the midst of recovery in the world, and the world is very bullish. So the Philippines could be just going up because banks worldwide are going up. So you've got BDO, you've got, yeah, so you've got energy stocks going up simply because the world is the world needs Petron, right? So yeah, I think I would believe more in the commodity spike more than anything. As for All Day or Keeper, I couldn't say what I prefer, but I think both IPOs are good to enter. I don't know what would really spike, if it will even spike. But the IPOs are decent. It's not expensive. It's not cheap. It's fair. I'd say it's fair. But Usually kasi IPO is a way for people to enter without resistance. That's also a critical reason why IPOs are generally going up. If you wonder why Wilcon, Converge, all of these names went up, Monde went up, it's because there's no path of resistance. Nobody's trapped. So if you buy it at the IPO price, chances are that is at support. Bahala na yung market how to dictate. But with positive sentiment for the rest of the year, seasonally, we are also in a high demand space. Holiday season is usually a bullish season for these names. Liquor and, as I said, supermarkets get to sell more. Timing wise, they did a right IPO. So we'll see whether the market believes in them. Or I'd say there's a spike, maybe 20%. So I'm bullish on nickel, therefore I couldn't say no to FNI. I think FNI is already being accumulated. The MCI is down simply because there is a profit taking. But I think that 8 below, there's a buyer. Perhaps 750, there's a buyer in the MCI. Coal prices kasi are just running on momentum now. So momentum up quickly gets profit taken. I wouldn't buy DMCI if you would ask me. I think 880 is still getting sold. Pero people would also stop selling if it trades below 8. If it starts trading below 8, I think there will be people who will stop selling already, and then you'll get a higher low formation. So I don't think that it's toppish, but I think that has it peaked so far at 933 in the short term for DMCI? The answer is yes. I think like in the short term, because there are so many opportunities, people are willing to sell first and then probably buy back again DMCI on a lower level. I don't think it will fall as much as 7 naman. So like maybe 750 would be the higher low if I would take a guess on DMCI. So yun, yeah, so we're generally in a bullish trend. Do try to make the most of this trend, but also be cautious. So also sell, guys. Learn to sell. And if you're gonna go long, be aware that IPOs are also good bets. So yun. Thank you very much, and see you again next this Friday. We have the global market deep dive, and next Wednesday we'll have, of course, our free Friday, free week Wednesday Philippine dives. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Awesome 10x and have a good day. Bye.